quality air, and that lets you save.
Look here.
True Form Life.
Green look on it.
Welcome to another edition of Exploring Mind and Body. As always, I'm your host, True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. On today's show, part 2 of our 3-part series, our interview with Jamison Brown.
This is Exploring Mind and Body with True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert on 96.5 CKFM.
This segment brought to you by Complete Truth Protein Powder. Live free, live true with whole natural foods. No additives, preservatives, soy, gluten, and dairy free. Supplement with superfoods to energize your day. Visit CompleteTruthProtein.co for details.
When I started working with you maybe a year and a half ago, moving on to 2 years now, we talked about some of your weight loss before that and how that went up and down. Now, when you told me those brief stories, was that talking about this plan in particular?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you doing anything else on your own after the program?
No. Again, it was, I reached, I can't express how important it was to me and how really negative the outcome was when I said to myself, yeah, done. Because at that point, there was no reason to keep eating the way I was eating, which I will admit was unsustainable for any more than what I had done. But yeah, I mean, again, when I got to that point, it was it. There was no exercise involved with the plan. So naturally, when you stop eating what I was eating and start, delving into other foods that you wouldn't eat on a diet, it doesn't take long for that weight to sneak back up on you. And that was exactly the case for me.
Okay. All right. So now we are a year and a half later when we were working together, and you had quite a bit more weight on than you do now.
Yeah, thanks, Drew.
Well, it's a true testament to how good you look now, Jamison.
Thank you.
So from that point, maybe a year and a half ago till now, what goes through your mindset? What goes through your motivation level? How do you get from that point to what I see in front of me right now?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think it goes back a lot to I grew up in a house of 4 boys. And at 6'4", maybe there's a few people who won't believe me, but I am the shortest in my family, despite being the eldest of the 4 boys. But everything in our house was a competition, and I am in essence, because of that, a very competitive person. I do my best to not let it interfere with me in terms of my professional, career, in terms of my family life. But there is a burning desire to compete and be the best in me that will never go away. And when I went out and I, wanted to play some football, it was a high level. We were playing against, guys who were just coming out of, who it didn't work in the CFL, so they came to the AFL. It didn't work in CIS or NCAA, so they're playing in that league as well. And I was being taken to town, and I didn't like it. And at that point, I said, something has to change. Now, before that, though, I will say that I started, even before the football, I started losing weight. I started trying to get myself into a little bit better shape because I had accidentally surrounded myself with inspiration. Listening to your show on a week-in, week-out basis, because I, edit it down, I produce it, I put the elements into it, I'm listening to it from front to back, sometimes 2 or 3 times over. And when you're surrounding yourself with inspiration, whether it's on purpose or accidentally, I was finding, my body and subconsciously my mind saying, you don't want to eat that. You should probably go work out. You should. So little bits at a time, I was, starting to get back in terms of living a healthier lifestyle from when I met you, because, you hammered that point into your head so much through the accidental inspiration, I'll call it, because listening to your show. But then when I really noticed that I needed to change was going to play football and not being the best I knew I could be.
Okay, so some of that's good to hear. I appreciate that too. And we often talk about inspiration or surrounding yourself with supportive people, or whether it be fitness classes, just information or blogs, whatever it may be. Those are huge keys to success for anyone to move forward in health and fitness. So But moving on to you being active. So you wanted to start training for football. You found your motivation. You found your reason why, which is all more important than any other goal-setting strategies people talk about. What did you do? I mean, you started working out. You started eating better. What does your schedule look like?
Well, I mean, we can get back to it, but I do. Remind me again to bring up bring up inspiration sometime down the road in this interview.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I don't want to go around giving tips, but I will. I think that there's so many great ways. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that. But in terms of what my schedule looks like, I'm a pretty busy guy, and I'm sure everybody else is. And when I really wanted to start focusing on getting better, not only on the field, but just, it's not fun sweating when you walk down the hall. Like it's not fun breaking a sweat walking from one room to the next. You shouldn't do that.
That's not normal.
That's not normal. So, at that point, again, I wanted to really focus on not so much even weight loss, but just trying to feel a little healthier. So I cut out all fast food, and I was bad for it. Like a lot of busy people, you just find an excuse. Like the fast food, you're going to find an excuse to eat it. Well, I mean, I'm in a time crunch. Well, it can't be that bad. I'm going to go for the healthy alternative. Instead of going to the fast food route, I prepared my lunch, just my lunch, for the next day. And that made an immediate difference because on my wallet too, but more importantly, I wasn't going and rolling through any drive-through and sitting in my car, which is what I did. I didn't even get out. I didn't even get out of my car. I ate the food in my car and then went back to work. I mean, it's actually kind of sad when you think about it. So I started preparing my lunch the night before and cut out that fast food, that habit of, well, it's lunchtime, off I go to sit in my car and to listen to the radio and to enjoy a burger or two, and then back to work with no movement other than, the occasional get up and walk down the hall.
You know what I wanted to bring up before you move on with your story here? You said it was easier on your wallet. And most people I talk to, they say eating healthy is too expensive. Well, first of all, they say they don't have time. I mean, you're addressing that right now. But preparing, that's the very first thing you need to do. But talk about how it saved you money, because most people just say it's too expensive to eat healthy.
Well, and I think you and I would probably really disagree on what I consider eating healthy.
Baby steps. James,
yeah, I mean, again, I'm not in any way, shape, or form a vegan. I have not cut out steak. And again, you and I will. What's healthy. I'm taking the baby steps to eventually get there, maybe. But it saves money because I'm not rolling through you just got to think, okay, if the average meal, and believe me, I know, I went a lot. You're spending about $8. You're spending about $8 per meal per day. So let's break that down into over 5 days. That's almost $50 a week that you're spending on lunch. Now, what I would do, and what now I've been doing a lot more of, is preparing my meal beforehand. And I defy you to tell me that it's going to cost you $50 to buy a few raw veggies. Like I'll buy 2 things of cucumber, slice them up, done. That's my veggies for the week in terms of lunch. And then I eat a lot of tuna salad. And again, maybe it's not the healthiest thing, but it's better than what I was eating, and with a wrap. That takes me literally, 6 minutes to prepare at home. It's in the fridge, and, instead of going and rolling through, maybe I'm now spending, in terms of lunch, as opposed to $50, now I'm spending maybe $15.
Right.
And that's you have to boil it down like that. Again, if you go out and buy the organic lettuce and the organic carrots and shred them up and julienne them finely, and yes, I can see, but healthy eating, to me anyway, is just making it at home so you know what's in it, you can control the portions, and it's not a big, fat, greasy burger covered in cheese and bacon. As delicious as that sounds, and it's okay as far as I'm concerned to eat it every once in a while, but when you're putting it into your body day after day after day after day, that will catch up with you. And, you know, it's easy to look at the savings and say, well, yeah, when you're not spending $8 a day on that food, as opposed to now going grocery shopping the week before, buying, you know, a few raw veggies, putting them into a Tupperware container, and buying a few wraps and making tuna or, you know, even just a veggie wrap or something.
Right.
There's no way it is more expensive to eat healthier. And that is, whether it's your level of healthiness or not, you have to admit that's healthier than fast food.
It certainly is. And you know what? And regardless of how healthy you think it is or what I think it is, like, everyone is at a different level. And I really think that that's a big deterrence for people, because they think it's going to cost them too much money, so they don't start it to begin with. They think it's too hard to prepare, and they don't know what foods to choose. And I mean, and you've seen drastic results yourself by just making small steps. All you're doing is preparing food at home. And you're doing what you think is healthy. And you're probably eating healthier than you think you are. But a lot of people think they need to eat like vegan. And vegan or vegetarian, like, a lot of vegans or vegetarians don't eat healthy. They just don't eat meat, or they don't eat animal products. So that doesn't mean they're healthier because they have a label. But all that matters is that you make small steps, you make your adjustments, and you keep moving forward with whatever health decisions you're making.
Well, yeah, I mean, that to me is so crucial, because I made a few simple changes. Because, again, I'm busy. I got 2 young kids. We got a family. I work all sorts of hours, literally, from, you know, my day sometimes can start at 5 in the morning. My day sometimes can start at 9 and sometimes end at 5 at night, or sometimes not end till 1 in the morning. You know, so I had to take a look at my life and see what's going to fit and make little adjustments to help me feel better about myself. And I think that that's so important for anybody who's thinking about getting healthy. You can't look at it as a mountain. You have to look at it, you know, as a step. You know, as opposed to eating, a fast food burger tomorrow. Why not try making a sandwich tonight for lunch and see how that goes?
Right.
If it's absolutely terrible, then at least you tried. You can't look at it as like, well, I'm going to throw out all the, you know, junk in my house, and I'm going to go grocery shopping right now, and we're only eating healthy, because at that point you've just put so much pressure on yourself that it's really tough to follow through.
This segment brought to you by True Form Fitness, for all your health and fitness needs. Personal training and group classes available locally. Visit trueformlife.com for details.
Just recently, I posted a status update on my True Form Facebook page. My exciting news is that I've been given the opportunity for my first book signing at a real bookstore, that being Chapters Indigo at Cross Iron Mills. What I found after the post was a bombardment of support, which always surprises me in a good way. I'm always flattered when I see someone engaged in a post or one of my write-ups from someone that I didn't know paid attention to what I do. Little did I know, when writing a book, it would only be the very beginning if I actually wanted it in stores and people to read it. Initially, I thought writing the book and having it come to life in print was a challenge. I had no idea what I was in for. Getting the book in front of people, in stores, online, and in their homes would be a constant effort. There's a whole lot of no's, rejections, and failures, if you will. But I truly believe you can't have success without failure. You certainly can't have ups without downs. And I also believe many times, if it's not hard, it's not worth doing. Not that long ago, the big names were the only ones that were heard. The companies that had money and resources to be on TV with a commercial, to be on the radio a few times a day, in prime time no less. These big companies were the only choice given, which is why they succeeded in such a big way. Times have changed though. Marketing has changed in a way the world has never seen. We now have a term called social media, and use words like status posts, tweets, and pins. We have social media giants like Twitter and Facebook, and although I was never a big fan before I ran a business, they give me something a small business never had. They offer something that compete with the titans of the business world. And if